Welcome to this video on mastering advanced verbs for B1 and B2 English levels. We will explore 25 essential terms, along with some fun facts to help you improve your vocabulary. To accomplish something means to succeed in doing a task. Interestingly, the word comes from the Latin accomplir, which means to fulfill. An example is, she accomplished her goal of running a marathon. Next is acknowledge, meaning to accept or admit that something is true. A fun fact: in some cultures, nodding signals acknowledgement, while in others, it can mean disagreement. For example, he acknowledged his mistake and apologized. Analyze means to examine something carefully to understand it. The term originates from the Greek word analysis, meaning breaking up. An example usage is, the scientists analyzed the data from the experiment. Anticipate means to expect that something will happen and prepare for it. The word comes from the Latin anticipare, meaning to take before. For example, we anticipate heavy traffic and left early. Appreciate means to value something highly, or to be grateful for it. It comes from the Latin appreciare, which translates to value. An example is, I appreciate your help with the project. Collaborate means to work together with others on a project or task. Its roots are in the Latin collaborare, meaning to labor together. For example, the two companies collaborate on research. Communicate means to share or exchange information with others. The word is derived from the Latin communicare, which means to share. An example is, we communicate through email and video calls. Concentrate means to focus your attention fully on something. It comes from the Latin concentrare, meaning to center. For example, I need to concentrate on my studies for the exam. Consider means to think carefully about something before making a decision. It stems from the Latin considerare, meaning to observe. For example, please consider all options before deciding. Demonstrate means to show how something works or to prove something. It originates from the Latin demonstrare, meaning to point out. An example is, the teacher demonstrates the experiment to the class. Determine means to decide something firmly or find out the facts. It comes from the Latin determinare, which means to set limits. For example, the test results will determine the next step. Evaluate means to judge the value, quality, or success of something. This word comes from the French évaluer, meaning to find the value. For example, the committee evaluates each proposal carefully. Examine means to look at something carefully and closely. It comes from the Latin examinare, meaning to weigh. An example is, the doctor examines the patient thoroughly. Finally, implement means to put a plan or decision into effect or to carry it out. The word comes from the Latin implere, meaning to fill up. An example is, the company implements new safety rules. Investigate means to try and find out the truth about something. It comes from the Latin investigare, which means to trace. A common example is, the police investigate the crime scene. Negotiate is to discuss something in order to reach an agreement. The word comes from the Latin negotiare, meaning to do business. For example, the two sides negotiate a peace agreement. Observe means to watch something carefully, often for scientific purposes. It stems from the Latin observare, meaning to watch. An example is, the scientist observes the behavior of birds. Overcome means to defeat or successfully deal with a problem or difficulty. The term comes from the Old English overcumen. For example, she overcame her fear of public speaking. Participate means to take part in an activity or event. It is derived from the Latin participare, meaning to share in. An example is, all students participate in the discussion. Perform means to carry out an action, task, or function. It has roots in the Old French parfournir, meaning to complete. For example,